bringing in a player like Yvonne Anderson, she's a player who has some familiarity with players on the roster already. It's kind of what are the things about her game that made her an attractive target for you, and what have you seen out of her so far?
An available point guard that we have watched for years. My experience with USA basketball, Vonnie playing for Serbia, so we're very familiar with her game and her ability to, if she comes in the game, to be able to change the pace, pressure, get up, play in transition, that sort of thing. So you need something different. As the last game or a couple games when T went down, and you go, okay, we have a situation here. That was all things that kind of went into that mindset.
The few players that came over here and spoke to us before have kind of said that the maybe drama of the finals is since it's not there anymore, and maybe it would have been nice for these two teams to play each other earlier in the season. Do you just kind of agree with that?
I think common sense would say that those two teams probably should have played earlier in the season, but I don't. The Rubik's Cube that is our WNBA schedule, I guess, is not solvable. So I'm not the person that does it. Certainly others challenges, but I think it's a big miss for sure.
Both you and the Liberty are coming off games that played passive and just were very unhappy with how you guys performed. How do you think meeting each other in a game, I know it's a regular season, might bring out the best of both of you in some ways?
That's what you expect, both teams. Obviously, we have high aspirations. They do, we do. Playing each other, right? We'll bring it out of one another. And should be the intense battle that we all anticipate.
You said the team was mentally not there on Sunday night. Obviously, not the aggression that's up to the standard. Was today's practice a good response
for sure, like they always do. I don't know if we weren't, whether it's, I don't know what the label is. You said mentally not there. I'm not putting that label on it. We just didn't look like ourselves in terms of understanding the places that make us great, which is to be physical, be aggressive, play with pace, that sort of thing. And we didn't lack it the entire game. We had obviously a very slow start. We got it together, and then our offense. We had 7 possessions where it's 55-51, and Nafisa Collier doesn't get a touch, and she was obviously as good as she was. So just then when we got ourselves back in it, we just didn't have maybe now the mental focus of what needed to happen next. So missed opportunity for us to win the game anyway after maybe getting off to a slow start.
You have coached against a lot of teams that are led by Coach Blondello in the Olympics. It seems like every big game. Can you talk about not only the success she's had with the teams as well as the success you've had with your teams?
Sandy Blondello, she doesn't know this, but we go back to her days in Miami when I was the scout for the Miami Soul. And she was a player I loved scouting. She was just so good. I got to watch so much. Similar things as a coach. She has a light way about her, typical of Aussies. She doesn't get too stressed about. It doesn't appear to be. Us Americans were very different, or maybe this American's very different. But Sandy is. She has a way of getting the best out of people, and obviously, her move from Phoenix to New York was a great one. Worked out great for her, and she's been great for that team. And obviously, won a championship now with 2 teams, one in Phoenix, one in New York. She's a common denominator to winning.
When teams are in a regular season, I mean, the regular season matters to a certain degree, but it's also you want to be healthy, you want to be playing your best basketball come playoff time. Just how do you continue to keep teams, I guess, motivating, get up for games that even might not be games they would want to get up
because
for?
That's not our philosophy. That simply is not our philosophy. We don't have that as a belief. These games that we're playing now are playoff games. If your mindset is this is just regular season and you treat it differently than regular season, then you might lose a playoff positioning. That's really valuable. It could cost you, matchups, etc. So we don't subscribe to that. There's a mindset that we have of these are playoff games, and when you get to the playoffs, those are championship games, and that's our mindset.
On a lighter note, 3 of your players went out into the community last night. Court, Jess, and T. How important is that to get players out into the community, especially with young girls, to kind of motivate and inspire them?
Yeah, I mean, they enjoy it. Our players enjoy those moments. You mentioned on a lighter note, right? Like getting away from here, getting away from the court, and go impact lives, that fills them up. And you know, those things come at a good time for us. And you know, I think our CI staff does a great job, you know, finding those opportunities that the players enjoy, and they can obviously impact people that they're meeting, but then also the people that we meet impacts them, and that means a lot to us. You can see when they're out doing it, you know, they're their authentic selves in a very giving way. And I didn't necessarily get to see all of what happened, but I knew the spaces that we were in, but I'm quite sure that we were impactful in our presence.
And I was going to say the partnership with Justin Vernon, obviously music and basketball. This might be tough, but who on the team has the best taste in music?
Best taste in music? I'm like the last person to judge that. I'm like a Pink
That's why I
fan.
ask. It's important.
You know, like it's. I honestly don't know. I couldn't even tell you. You know, I don't know who's on the aux. Like whose music is who. I don't have any idea. I know some of the music I have to hear in the locker room before the game isn't great. You know, and Courtney is usually on that one, so she tries to find a vibe that she's feeling, and sometimes I feel it and sometimes I don't. You know, I'd like after the game, I can't wait to get in my car and get back to my Lauren Hill and some like nice peaceful.
Is there anyone you've coached that you're like dreading when it's their turn to get the aux cord?
No, it's not like that for me at all. You know, I think that's probably a question for the players that are in those spaces. I'm just not usually in their space with that. But I can comment on their abilities in singing. I can comment on that because we're in the front of the bus, and so when they do have the aux going in the back of the bus, I can comment on that. And we have some really, really talented players that can really.
Do you care to share a name of someone who shines?
I'd really rather share the ones that don't shine because they're the most obvious.
Of course.
And the one that could use the auto tuning, probably the most, would be Diamond Miller. I think she would take the cake. So.
On the notes though of that like partnership, we were here last night at the event they had. Able to chat with some folks, but wanted to get your perspective on your level of excitement.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very unique, first of its kind partnership with a Grammy Award-winning artist and Justin Vernon, and you know, it's great music for the year through the years that he's produced, and I think the alignment with him and his band and his team is really about us impacting the lives of women, and to have someone like Justin to be so intentional in how he can use his platform in partnering with us and seeing. Obviously, he loves the brand of basketball. He's always loved the Lynx, but seeing this way that we can, you know, partner with the Women's Foundation of Minnesota. You know, a lot of you know, whether it's sex trafficking or shelters, or just gender equality issues, that you can have someone so prominent in a space that to use their voice and our voice together. I think it's an incredible partnership.
And one last quick one on the game tomorrow. Do you see the matchup as a rivalry? If so, do you think it's something that is, you know, like helpful in terms of growing sort of people have this game circled and tuning in?
Yeah, it's too soon on the rivalry, in my opinion. I think that we can go back in our time. The reference point is the LA Sparks. When in 2016, you know, we had the WNBA finals. We had our battles during the year. We had the WNBA finals, and then the subsequent year, those battles were really intense. We had two teams that were undefeated. We play each other. Incredible game, right? And so it built, and in 2017, we're in the finals again. I believe that our series, those two teams, our rivalry moved the league forward and gave us a look into the future. And that's when we really started getting eyes on. That's when I noticed our popularity nationally. And so I think, you know, maybe Vegas and New York after 2 years, maybe they were ready to call that a rivalry. So I think you have to see what does this year produce. It has the makings. Certainly from a talent perspective, and you know, I don't know that you need to call us a rivalry for us to tell you that there'll be no love lost when we play each other tomorrow.
The
Doesn't make it a
WNBA
rivalry, but that makes it so.
Yeah. The WNBA trade deadline is going to be here before we know
Yeah.
it. And, I guess there's already been some unique roster moves that have happened this offseason, whether it's DB, Emma in the
Yeah.
near future, all that.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just curious when it comes from like the trade deadline standpoint, how do you, what's the balance between the buyers and sellers? Because, obviously everyone's going to be, all the veterans are going to be free agents. So
Yeah.
is there incentive to go all in, or is it more hesitancy knowing that you're only getting like a 2-month rental?
Yeah, I think it makes it more challenging for the teams that maybe have a player and maybe in an ordinary year could be a seller because of where they are and what their future goals are. That opportunity is a little less as a result of what you're talking about, a 2-month rental that costs you, so the value isn't going to be there as it would be maybe in normal years. And whether teams, step up and do something, that might be, a hit to their future, that's all about maybe an appetite, where a franchise is. And that will be interesting to see what happens at the deadline. It could produce nothing as a result, because maybe the price tag is too high. Or if the price tag comes down, then maybe we see some movement. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
What do you think of the Emma commitment? I mean, I know she hasn't signed yet and is still doing the visa process, but just you guys were one of the teams that were in the final 3.
She made the wrong choice.